Hello, everyone. This is Restorative Courage class. I'm just going to adjust my, there, you're able to see me now. So, courage. What is courage? Courage is face what is in front of you squarely and fearlessly. Discover the truth and hold it in your heart and act on it. So today's class, really all you need is a bolster. I put down a blanket and eye mask just because some people like to be covered up. I do. So if you have a bolster or a pillow for all of the poses, we will see what we get in. I have 5 planned, but we may only do 4 depending on how the time goes. And I will see you on the mat and then back up here for namaste. So our first pose, and I'm going to keep my socks on for restorative yoga. I love restorative yoga. It's going to bring relaxation to you. We have heart openers, some hip openers, and bring about a nice mind stillness for you, like a mindfulness session, an extended mindfulness session that goes on for about an hour instead of for 5 minutes, which is great. So we will do first pose is supported bridge. I'm just going to bring your bolster, and we're going to hold each pose about 10 minutes to a nice comfortable position. I'm going to have my blanket ready and my eye mask. And then when it's time to come out, I will do my little chime. And before you jump up or move or anything, just stay there after you hear the chime. Then I will explain how to come out of the pose safely. And then we will go right into the next pose. So you need to get it adjusted. This bolster is a little high for me, so I have to bring another little lumbar pillow to give me a little extra support there. And you just basically find your your best position for you to lay comfortably. The knees are going to remain up in the air. It's just a bridge pose. I may not need the blanket. It's a little warm today. And get my eye mask. And then we will just begin. Have your arms out by your side. I like to have mine by my sides. I prefer palms up. Some people do palms down. And I will meet you back here in 10 minutes for the next pose. start opening your eyes up. And the best way to come off of bridge pose, which I've already done it because I didn't put my time close enough to reach, is you can turn your head and look this way as I raise my knees up to my chest, and then I just kind of roll off of the bolster to my side. And then I can press my top hand up and my head coming up last. Now for our second pose, we're going to do a supported child's pose, which is a really nice pose. So you want to get the bolster adjusted. I'm going to bring this where I can reach it. And I'm going to ding halfway through, because in child's pose, if you have your head turned one way, you might want to turn it back the other way. So to get into this pose, you have your knees spread wide next to the bolster, and then you just kind of lay down and see where it feels the most comfortable. And you can have your head turned to the side one way, or if it's in your body, you can come up all the way on your bolster and have a blanket up to have your head straight. And then my nose and chin, my nose is kind of hanging off the edge of the blanket, and my chin's off of the edge of the bolster. And this is how I prefer it. So yogi's choice on which way you want to do it. You can have a pillow. I have my blanket all bunched up here for my face. So we will go ahead and get into the pose, and I will ding it in 5 minutes for those that chose to have the head to the side, which adds a little nice neck stretch. It bothers my neck, so I like to go face down. Go ahead and close your eyes.
switch your head position if you've got it to the side. If you don't, just remain in your child's pose. We're going to come up out of our restorative child's pose by just simply pushing yourself up with your hands, coming up on your knees. You need your bolster at the same horizontal place. And if you want to do like a little cat-cow here before we transition to our next pose. Maybe even a little stretch of your foot. My foot feels a little like it needs to stretch out. It's been laying in that position for a while. I'm do my right foot. And then my left foot. Oh yeah, that feels good. Tight calves. And I think we're just going to have time for 2 more. So let me see which ones I want to do. I think we'll go ahead and we'll I may shorten one at a time, so I want to get them all in because I wanted to do the heart opener with our fish pose. So we're going to lay on our back on the bolster, and I'm going to have a little cushion for my head up here with my blanket. Depending on your body size, you may or may not need that. It's too deep of a stretch for me to stay in a restorative pose, but you basically lay down so that your head is going to come off of the bolster, or it's actually right between my shoulder blades, so it's a chest opener, but my head cannot come down that far, so I'm going to adjust my head level there. That's a good one for me. And you can keep your knees up, or if you want to really stretch out, for total fish pose, you can bring your arms overhead. I'm going to have to keep my knees up a little bit just for my lower back. And we'll meet back here in about 6 minutes, and then we'll do our half frog pose on each side. So 6 minutes, I'll ding the bell to come out of fish pose. can start opening your eyes. I'm removing my eye mask. I'm going to do a long stretch and maybe rotate my ankles and wrist. Inhale my knees to chest. So I'm not just jumping right up off of my bolster. Do a little Konasana. Getting ready for our frog pose. I'm just holding my shins around close to my ankles and pulling my knees in as I have the soles of my feet together. This will really get you set up for the next pose. And I'm going to bring my knees in and place my feet on the mat and roll gently off of my bolster as I come up, nice and slow. I'm going to keep the bolster still horizontal and get ready for frog pose, which is a great hip opener. We'll do one side at a time since we're doing restorative. So, we're going to lay on top, stomach down with your head hanging over the top. So I've got to adjust my blanket again. I'm actually using this more for my head positions than I am for covering up. I'm glad it's not cold. Because we're going to have our head off of, I'll demonstrate the first part first. I'm laying over with my head coming down into a crocodile pose. So I'm going to have my my left hand down first, my right hand, just so that I don't have my head. It's not too bad this way. I might just even make that lower. So you find your adjustment for your head. And we'll switch our hands halfway. Or when we switch the leg position, we'll switch our hand. Then we're going to have our right knee is going to come up. You can stay up straight out at 90. I'm going to bring mine up as high as I can because I'm pretty flexible there. And we'll hold this for 5 minutes, and then we will switch hands. Which one is down first? Remember, I've got my left one down first and my right knee up. Really try to bring it up as close to your head as possible for that nice stretch. The left leg is straight out, and I will ding the bell in 5 minutes, and we will switch positions. Now I'm going to bring my right hand down to the on the bottom and my left hand on top for my crocodile pose, and then the forehead just lays on top of the hands. I'm going to very gently straighten out my right leg. I'm going to do a little rotation here a couple of times because that was a big stretch for that inner grilling. And now I'm going to lift my left knee up so it's coming up towards my armpit. It's actually really stretching that inner groin, and then we'll hold this pose for 5 minutes, and then we'll come to our final destination. before we come up out of this pose, go ahead and take that left leg straight back. And I've still got my knee bent, and I'm going to do a few rotations both directions. I'm just lifting my knee up and around. And I'm bringing my leg straight out. And I'm going to stretch my arms straight out. And do a nice inhale. Lift my head and my legs up for a little break of locust pose here. Nice way to kind of come up. And then I'm going to lower my hands down and lift myself up and back. Should feel very good. Now for our final pose, it's very simple, and it's one that you should be familiar with if you've watched any of my classes. I always use a bolster when we come into Shavasana. I'm going to take my blanket here and give it a little roll for my neck support. Get my eye mask ready. We're going to do a restorative rest pose for our final pose, which is what we do a lot of times in Shavasana. So, restorative rest pose, you're just going to take your bolster, place it underneath your knees, and then lay back. And if you want to have a little neck support, that makes it super nice. And then I'll get you back here in about 5 or 6 minutes to end the class. And I kept forgetting to mention that because I get down in the pose and then I remember, try to not clench your jaws. I found myself clenching my jaws a couple of times, so just try to relax every part of your body as you get into your restorative rest pose. it's time to start maybe moving gently around. Again, I'm going to rotate my wrist and ankles a couple of times. Maybe do a nice full body stretch. Oh, it feels good. Couple of nice breaths. Knee to chest. I'm going to roll over onto one of my sides. If you roll to the right, that's for your heart health. If you roll to the left, that's for your digestive health. Oh, I said that opposite. I'm too relaxed. If you roll to the right for heart health, no, I said it right. And roll to your left for digestive health. Your choice. You're probably already over on one side, but that's what the sides are best noted for. And just take a couple of breaths here in a fetal position. I've got my blanket, so I've got my blanket under my head, but you can use your arm to cradle your head so it's more comfortable. And then when you're ready, take your top arm, place your palm on the mat, and push yourself up very slowly, head coming up last. That is a safe way to come up for back health. And if you do that, if you start making that your practice, now it was very awkward when I first started getting up in the morning that way, because I like to just roll and jump out of the bed. But now that I have, I'm becoming older and wiser, I suppose, older and more owies in my body, it's best if I come up that way, and I'm glad it's a habit now. So thank you for joining Restorative Courage class, and I hope that you take that word with you through the day. If you did this in the evening, through the next day, maybe the next week, or even if you like the word a lot, just use it whenever you feel like it for your mindfulness word. And I have a final quote, and it is from a site called Everyday Power. So, life shrinks or expands in proportion to your courage. So let's rub our hands together, bringing warmth, joy, love, peace, and courage into our heart center. I bow and honor the light in you and ask that you honor the light in others. Namaste. Oh, and our next class will be a slow flow courage class. And then we will do a chair courage class. And then I'll choose a new word. And then I am finished with my subbing for a friend of mine who was injured. So then I'm going to go back to doing my different classes each week with a new word, because I was having to write 3 or 4 classes every week. So we'll be back to normal in 2 weeks. Ta-ta for now. Have the courage to do what you want to do today.